What is going on, guys? Name's D3. Welcome back to another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. So for this one, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go ahead and pit Super Kaioken, Super Saiyan Goku Angel, Super Kaioken Goku versus his other Super Saiyan counterpart, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, which we all know is Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Kaioken, or Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, whatever you prefer. The point is they didn't put Kaioken in there because they wanted to shaft this guy. Well, not really him. They wanted to shaft the other Super Saiyan Blue Goku and not let you run both of them on the same team because that would be OP at the time. It's not as OP now, but it would have been back then. So anyways, we're going to pit them against another. But I will say this really quick. I will do gameplay of this, not at the moment, but in the future. I do have the Super Saiyan Kaioken Goku Angel. I have him. I just need to get him to 10, and I'll show him off on... You know, the problem with that is that I don't have access to his leader yet. So his best leader would be Super Gotenks, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. He's only on JP at the moment. He will be on JP for only on JP for another 5 months. Unless, not 5 months, probably 3 months. Unless they decide to do stuff out of order, which is always a possibility with the English version of the game. And then on top of that, the other flip side of the coin is that he's not even available on JP, the Kaioken Goku. This guy's not even on JP, so I can't do it there. So maybe what I'll do is I'll do them under the 70% leaders and see what we can do. I have this guy. He's better on my JP, so I'd probably just do a Super Vegito lead in JP with him on the team and show him there. And then this guy under a Broly at SA10 and things like that. I know Alex did a showcase of this guy, so you guys can go ahead and damn it, I can't talk. You guys can go ahead and go over to the Gaming Claws channel to check out a good showcase, but I'm going to hold off on that. So anyways, let's go ahead and talk about it. These guys are very, very similar, which is why I wanted to go ahead and do this. All right, so we're going to look at the newer one first, Burning to the Last, max level 120. You are super physical, of course. Physical types is the leader skill. Physical types get HP, attack, and defense plus 50%, but 2 key only. Causes immense damage while sacrificing 7% of your HP, so 7% of your total HP. He gives himself 3 key and 100% more attack when he's above 50% of his HP. He has the triple link set combo, and I think there's only 3 units in the game, and they're all Gokus that have Prepare for Battle, Shocking Speed, and Over and Flash. But he also has Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, and Fierce Battle. And then the least impressive one, which is a nice link if you can pair him up with Pikkon, Otherworld Warriors. I just say least impressive because it's not very usable majority of the time for this guy. Unless, like I said, you're running heroes with him and Pikkon. So you can basically activate all of his links on a team like that, all his attack links. So anyways, what does this guy do well, right? So he has a key multiplier of 140 when he Dokkan awakens. I think it's 130 or 135 pre-Dokkan. Don't quote me on that. Either way, he has an immense modifier. So that's the best thing about him. He has immense. No, he does not. So let me go ahead and say this. He does not have a farmable super. People keep asking me if you can farm that Goku, that intelligence Goku, which for one, I don't know if you can even farm him. If you can, great. If you can't, whatever. But either way, they gave out 2 of them. So it doesn't really matter to me if you can or can't. But if you can, great. He can't be used to farm this guy. This guy is not farmable. Nor can this guy be used to farm this guy. So this guy is a little bit farmable if you get those physical Super Saiyan Blue Gokus from the Baba Shop. Using your second anniversary coins, you can kind of quotes up farm him. I'm going to do a separate video about what you should probably prioritize with the coins. I probably meant to put that at a couple days ago. I'm a little bit late, but had some stuff going on. So yeah, this guy's not farmable. So you will have to use Kai's on him if you want to get him to SA10, unless you just pull a crazy amount of dupes. But as always, if you pull dupes, you probably want to prioritize the potential system, top left and bottom right. So on top of that, what else does this guy do well? He gets the 3 key and then 100%. 100% is good enough to keep him relevant in the meta for a very long time, especially because he has a nice attack stat, especially when you go ahead and put in some orbs into him. Yes, he's worth the orbs. Any unit that gets immense damage basically is worth orbs. So go ahead and book in that, especially if they get an 100% up. There are units that get Supreme and 100% up, and they're worth the orbs too. So, all right, if you especially put in orbs into him, he'll be a lot better. So he's going to be viable in the game for a very, very long time. Like I said, key +3 is good. It allows him to run on certain teams that, he otherwise may have not been able to run on. For example, under Demigod, basically the Demigod units. Who would his Demigod be? It would be the physical Goku Black. That guy offers no key, but he does offer key to extreme types. That doesn't help this guy at all. But what helps this guy is the fact that he gets that, so that he doesn't get the key from the leader skill because Black doesn't offer it once again, but he is able to maximize the 100% stat increase from Black's leader skill, which is HP, attack, and defense for physical units plus 100%. So in that regard, he starts off with 3 ki from this, and then he triggers his links, which would be prepare for battle on both ends if he's in the middle. So he'd be able to super relatively consistently. Depends who else you're running with. Maybe you run a couple of supports, which is fine. So he's a good unit in that regard as well. As far as Gotenks goes, like, his leader, if he was on JP and eventually the leader he'd be a part of, that team doesn't hurt for links, but he does trigger over the flash, which will push Gotenks over the edge majority of the time because this guy is basically going to be on rotation aside from... so one rotation, let me go ahead and say this, will be Vegito Blue and the Super Saiyan 3 physical Gotenks, and the other rotation would be Super Saiyan 3 physical Gotenks friend, and this guy, and then your floaters would be a support and the physical Super Saiyan Gotenks that's doing the victory sign. So that guy. So he's going to be on rotation. He's going to force Gotenks to hit 12 ki pretty much. Maybe not. He's going to put him at 11. So, I mean, if you can get 2, which is great, that's fine. But the good thing about physical Gotenks is it's not bad for him to get 12. It's just a lot more optimal to get 11 because it hits a lot harder. But it's not the biggest problem. Like Tech Gotenks, it's not a major problem, but he greatly prefers to get 11 ki over 12 because his 12 ki is extreme modifier. So this guy is very good. Let's go ahead and jump over to Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. Immense damage as well, while he sacrifices only 5%. So there's a difference there. He gets 20,000 attack and 10,000 defense for 10 turns from the start of the turn, so he has a restriction as well. So once again, the 3 key links, instead of a couple of the other links that the Goku has, like other World Warriors or whatever, he has Warrior Gods, and he also has Kamehameha and Super Saiyan. So they share, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4... 5. They're like best friends, literally. They share all of the links with each other except for the Warrior Gods and and other World Warriors. It's funny because a lot of times Goku units sometimes don't link super crazily well with each other, but these two really do. There's just so many Goku units in the game. There's like a variant of Goku for like everything. All right, so what does this guy do well? One of the things that he does well is he only sacrifices 5 instead of 7. It's not the biggest of issues, but every little bit counts, right? So on top of that, he also gets a defensive improvement, albeit for 10 turns. I'd say that the other one's more consistent, especially when I factor in the team he's going to be on, which I'll get to in a moment. This guy has better stats overall, which does lend better into these. Once you put in the potential system work on him as well, he will start to really get a lot better. The one problem with this guy is as these leader skills increase, he does become more and more outdated, but this link set will never be outdated. He's one of the only units in the game that has all 3. Like I said, I think the only one aside from these 2 is the STR Super Saiyan God Goku. Not Intelligence, not AGL Super Saiyan God, just STR. He has a 150% ki multiplier, so that does help him as well. Looks like Banda had a little bit of foresight with that. They decided to give him that 150 because I believe he's the only demigod. So demigods are units that give 100% of the stats. So this guy is the AGL variant, like I was just explaining the Goku Black one. He's the physical one. I think he's the only one with 150. There may be one more, but I think he's the only one. Frieza totally got the shaft. Tech Frieza got the shaft for like 135 or 130, whatever. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at both of them and try to discern which one is better. Oh, this one has lower cost, by the way. So that's the thing. This guy has like the older cost. I think they used to have like 42 initially whenever they were fierce battle units, and they jumped to like 48. Now they're like at 58 with the newer ones, so that's a thing. But okay, let's go ahead and discern this. So this one's actually very tough because it's hard for me not to call this one better when I factor in the game and the way that the game is played. So I've said it numerous times, this defensive improvement is mitigated by this. People need to understand this. I'm not going to do the math. I'm not going to break the math down. But on average, if you have 200,000 HP, he's giving up 5% of that. He may take less damage in the turn because of this higher defense, because he's definitely going to tank better, because this guy can tank well. He can get down to triple-digit damage in some scenarios and things like that, even double-digit damage. He can tank very well, but that gets mitigated because he's giving it right back. So let's not, put a whole lot of stock into that. He won't kill you. He will not kill you with this. Like, you can only drop to 1% with these mechanics, if you're wondering. Him and the other one will not kill you. They'll just leave you at 1%. So with these guys, there is a little bit more of an onus on basically beating the enemy faster. which is where it kind of comes into, what optimal or quote unquote optimal would be for these teams. And this guy on his team hits, let me go ahead and say once again, JP specific, because Global doesn't have that unit yet. So I'm looking in the future for this guy to kind of match him up with how I'm basing this guy. His team hits significantly harder than SS4 Vegeta's team. It's like not even close. Like, this guy is going to hit significantly harder. But I will say, I do think that while Kaioken Goku, they're both Kaioken, while Super Saiyan God Kaioken Goku will pale in comparison offensively, when you put in orbs into both of them, they're both max SA. And of course, he has a 10 turn, which is honestly good enough. I don't want to, the restriction thing is weird because I feel like 50% is really bad, but 10 turns isn't any better for me. I guess it could be because he doesn't have like an HP requirement, and 10 turns is long enough to beat a lot of events unless your team isn't like super, like, I don't even have to say like super good, unless it's like not average, which below average, maybe you need to put more work into it or whatever the case is. A lot of times that's good enough. So I don't know. I feel like he should have had 30, but on top of that, to make up for that, he has the self-sufficiency. But then is the self-sufficiency really needed when he has all those damn key links? So it's like, he's a weird unit. He is. I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to this Goku, because when I look at them, and I honestly thought I would give it to this guy going in, when I look at them, right, unless you're talking about damage, which I'm not going to deny 90% of this game is damage output, which is why every unit seemingly hits harder and harder and harder. And as more units pop out, the leader skills get bigger. This 20% is going to start looking really bad. It's just going to look bad and bad and bad. And this 100% will always look good. It will always look good. It's the same reason Super Saiyan 3 AGL Goku is still one of the hardest hitting AGL units in the game. Even though he has a 7-turn restriction and he's super old, that massive potential system increase he gets for being one of the original God leads does him a huge favor. And then on top of that, 100% up is just not small. And then the good links he has. So this is just not going to look good, but I'm going to give it to this guy because they both have immense. I think this guy's restriction is better because if for whatever reason under the Gotenks team, because Gotenks does lose defense, if you don't one-shot the enemy or two-shot the enemy or basically one turn kill the enemy, Goku may spawn without his passive active. And if he doesn't have his passive, he's worthless. The only good thing he has is the ability to act as a key battery through his key links for other people, which that actually applies to both of these guys. If they basically spawn without this, they're worthless aside from having good links. And this guy has better natural stats. I assume they're both in the same tier in the potential system. Hey, I'm going to give it to this guy. And of course, like I said, the lower sacrificing of the HP, and then of course the defense up, which I've explained how that works. I'm going to give it to Kaioken. I'll leave it up to you guys in the comment section to break it down even further if you want. I'm sure that the math has been done already on the Reddit as far as this guy goes. This guy over here and his output. But I do want to, kind of give more credence to the guys that don't have the most maxed out damaging units in the game. So if this guy isn't one of those and you don't have him, you don't have like a crazy OP physical team, the AGL one's probably better. So that gets into a whole nother debate as to whether you'd run this guy over the other one, which is honestly the same thing. The other one hits so much harder than this one, especially when paired with Vegeta, that he is quote unquote optimal. But optimal means best possible. And the problem with optimal is it does mean in regards to damage, like 90% of the time, under the premise that a lot of your units are going to be maxed out. So same thing. Either way, like I said, you guys can break it down, and I will do gameplay whenever I get this guy and the other guy maxed out and stuff. So have an awesome day. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Hope you learned something, and I'll catch you guys